You're good to go.
Great break after camp, couple of days to just regroup, kind of gather our minds, reconnect with our families. A lot of the reports just going around the building, a lot of guys took advantage of that time to be able to, just kind of recenter before we get into the season. So, and then, of course, the challenge coming off of a break is let's get back to work. And so it was a great day of work, guys flying around. We got quite a few new faces around, the building. So just seeing those guys starting to get comfortable, hear the calls, play faster and play to the, to what we saw on film. So a great day for that evaluation. And then again, just a chance for us to keep moving the ball forward as we get ready for New Orleans this week.
Dave, we saw the new numbers. Have you guys voted on captains yet?
We have. So we're going to hold that for a couple of days. Just talk to the group, announce it to the team on Wednesday. Leadership council, captains, all those things, which I think will be so valuable for us going forward. And a lot of really, really good candidates for that. Just some leadership that was already in place here. So I'm excited about it.
Do you know how many captains you're going to have overall?
I'd like to have 3 representative from offense, defense, special teams, and we'll have a rotational 4th player just week to week as we see fit.
Clowney not out there today. What's going on there?
Yeah, illness. So just wanted to play. He came in not feeling great, so we just want to keep him away from the rest of the group as we get closer to the game, and we'll get him healthy, and he'll hopefully be back out there to practice on Wednesday.
With this being kind of like the extra practice day of the week.
Yeah.
How did you guys kind of manage Ian and Tommy kind of heading into the actual week of work?
Yeah, still working on making sure we get good eyes on them. How much can we expect for them to be available? Again, trying to stay away from, timelines and all those things as we go into the week. But, it's definitely something that we've been on for a couple of weeks now, so I'm really counting on those guys.
Was St. stoked to learn that he was going to get the 0 jersey?
Oh yeah, he was fired up, and again for us the message to him was your work, the thing that you've done every day since you've gotten here, applying yourself, that doesn't change. Continue to stay on this progression of growing. But I was really glad to just make that get that moment for JT to just feel like, hey, we're counting on you. You've done a great job. You were dependable, you were consistent this camp, and let's keep that going in the right direction.
Do you go into this week with who's first up at the other edge spot opposite Clowney?
Yeah, we got a whole group, so we're going to take that all the way to game day. And just, we got a group of guys we're counting on, and so they've had a lot of opportunities to show us what they're doing, but we kind of want to leave it like that right now.
Dave, I'm kind of curious what your strategy is going ahead with the running back. Obviously, Miles came in as a starter last year and then lost his job. Chuba took over. Are you the type that wants to use one guy to go or multiple split carries? What is how do you want to approach that at running back?
Yeah, there's value to both. So just talking to running backs over the years, there's value to letting a guy be out there and get the rhythm, to really start breathing, start seeing the runs, pressing it, feeling how the line's blocking on that day, And then there's a flip side of it where you have 2 really good backs and you just rotate them through, And if a guy has a couple of plays stacked together and has a nice long run, then you can get the other guy and you have fresh legs to be able to attack it that way. That's really the approach that we would hope for, to keep, Miles and Chuba just continuing to spot each other as we go through it. And of course, third downs as well, counting on those guys with protection and what they can do in the pass game. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. You've talked about Miles making up ground. How has he looked? Now he had it in week 1.
He's looked fantastic. He came into camp just with this focus and this seriousness about the way he's worked. He's really emerging as a leader. Chuba has as well. So we have great leadership coming out of that room. It's really one of the featured rooms on our team in terms of the character of what we're looking for. The guys that are out there are available, work hard, finish runs, and they kind of set the tone for what we're doing. So I'm really pleased with that group as a whole.
Specifically with Bryce, what is his week 1? What does the beginning of his week 1 look like in comparison to, the preseason training camp, et cetera? Where is routines different? Like that.
Yeah, really what it comes down to, Alex, is getting the flow of the exchange of information. So as we put together our first and second down plan, regrouping and talking about, especially, making sure the run game is right, but then especially talking about the passes, the actions, the shot plays, the empties, whatever those things might be where Bryce feels comfortable, there's an important dialogue that happens. Then you go to Thursday, big third down day, right? And that's a huge day because as we start to collect information about Bryce and about our group, our skill group, it all starts with a protection plan. But then as we get to the concepts, it's which ones does he look confident? Which ones does he just feel great about? So that conversation happens. We have a recap on Thursday afternoon, and then Friday kind of tying in the red zone. So I think that the flow of information now that we have, the Buffalo was kind of a snapshot of a game plan week. This week's going to have the full game plan. So we'll have all of those things to talk about so that as we organize our call sheet, it all reflects what we feel most confident. And we'll certainly take, Bryce's feedback, really the quarterback room feedback as we go into those. So I think beyond that, the workload looks the same, as far as just what we're doing on the field, the fundamentals, the footwork, all those things would be the same. But I think the dialogues do kick into another gear as we get into this game.
Dave, now that we're in a game week, do you think it'll feel different walking onto the field as a head coach on Sunday as opposed to the many times you've done it in other roles?
I'm sure it will, and that's the beauty of it is that we had those preseason games so that I can kind of get the feel for gathering information from my staff and then also being available on the defensive side in case there's a timeout or there's something that I need to be a part of there. So that was really valuable. But again, you go into a regular season game, and playing a division opponent, for me, it's going to be, I'm excited about it, and I think it's a surreal moment, and I'm humbled to be in this position. And I know the guys are counting on me to be able to help the team, put us in those best situations, and when we get to situational football, make sure that we're, on the right page so we can finish games well.
Is there anything that maybe you learned during the preseason, besides being louder during timeouts, that maybe you realized, okay, I thought I would do things this way, but I actually need to do it this way?
I think, just, again, the communication with the officials, gathering information about penalties, what's happening here, the review, that whole system, and there's the assist that happens. And so being able to say, like, are we going to get an assist on this, or is this something that I would need to challenge? Just being able to have those conversations. George Lee's upstairs helping me with all those decisions as well. I think from a communication standpoint, I like where we're at, especially offensively with the guys that I've worked with before. So I feel great about just our systems going into this game.
Do you know yet who's going to be up in the box? Like, is Ajero going to be up there, or who's going to be up there? You don't have to go through everybody.
Yeah. The coordinators will all be on the field. I think it's really important as we go through series, particularly after good drives and bad drives, we're able to collect information, be able to troubleshoot things, and also the players can feel the plan, feel the communication and the focus of the coach. I think it's really important for the coordinators. They'll be down there on the field. And then we have a bunch of different coaches that'll be helping upstairs, as well as with substitutions on the field.
From a culture standpoint, how do you view the practice squad traveling? Are there like a certain number of guys that get to go, or is it like a standout reward system? How do you guys do that?
Yeah, and we're going to kind of be at the mercy of how many seats we have available. I love bringing practice squad players, particular guys that are really close to being called up, to be around the team, to feel all the dynamics that happen before a game, the night before preparation, during a game, the conversations that happen on the sideline, the energy that those guys bring on game day, because a lot of times the guys playing are so focused on what's happening. A lot of times the energy of big plays, the celebration of things, the encouragement coming off the field, those things can be really important. So, that's something that I always liked doing. But again, we'll be kind of, at the mercy of how many guys can we actually travel within our numbers.
Dave, you mentioned earlier in the offseason talking to Tony Dungy, talking to Pete about becoming a head coach and learning some of those lessons. Are there specific things you're doing now that are kind of the opposite of what you knew in Seattle, or doing things differently than you had grown accustomed to?
Yeah, I think the thing that Pete always told me over the years was whenever you get your opportunities, make sure that you care about the things that are important. So I've watched the things that are so important to Pete, the ball, both sides of it, all phases, attacking the ball, taking care of it, running the football, playing with great toughness, our play style, all those things are really just kind of like in my DNA from the years I spent with Pete. And I think the important part as we do our weekly meetings, as we coordinate things, the feel of the practice, really it's finding our way, finding the Panthers' way to do things based on who our staff is, based on who our players are and the character of this team. I think it's so important to kind of keep it in our wheelhouse in different ways, So there are some things that are a little bit different, And then, of course, being able to spend a year with Todd Bowles and to watch him lead with a completely different style. He cared about the same things, and I think that's what encouraged me the most was to say, if I can stay focused on the things that mattered to these guys, that mattered to Tony, that mattered to Coach Capers, that mattered to Coach Caldwell, who are in the building, and keep our focus, then I feel like we can really build a good, solid team with the mentality and with the philosophy. So we've had a lot of those conversations. How do we do this thing? Do we need more information in these meetings, or should we get them to their position coaches a little quicker so they can go through installs? All those things happen on a daily basis that we work through. So that's a great question, Darren.
Anything in particular you've taken from Dom or Jim in that regard?
Yeah, the Leadership Council, that was something that Coach Caldwell did and thought was a really powerful tool so that we can talk about the direction of our team with a group of guys that have been around the league, guys that have good input, and we can take all those things into consideration, I think with Coach Capers, from the onset, his commitment to playing good football and making the focus on the X's and O's, and so where I would love to spend more time kind of talking through things in a team meeting session right now because we're still learning our schemes. We've thrown it all at the guys, but the players that we have available will determine what we do well. And so Coach Capers is always encouraging me to get back to the football, let the guys get to that so they can coach guys up. And so love just having, that kind of experience. I'm surrounded by a lot of guys who have seen a lot of football.
If you bring in praise through the international program, how did you guys discover him? How did you land on him? And what can you see him bring to the team?
Speed. So he's a guy who ran 10.27 in the 100. He's got a great frame. Just really looking forward to seeing him out there flying around. He's on our practice squad currently. So I'm excited to just kind of see him develop and see what he can become. Very exciting.
Your interior guys, the two guards and the center, never got to start a game together.
Yeah.
What did you see from them throughout the summer, just working together in the interior?
Yeah, just the toughness, the communication. So when you get veteran players playing with each other, they talk a lot. And so the communication is inside out. It starts with Corbs, and then it works out to Rob and to Damian. And so Damian, then they communicate out to the tackles, and the tackles are tied in with the tight ends. So seeing that makes you feel really good about playing ball. But again, you hit your combos, you start going deep into a game, second quarter, fourth quarter, and the guys start to feel each other out on these combos. That stuff's to come, and we've gotten good work in camp, but those are the valuable things, the valuable lessons that we're going to learn about our group as we go into each week here.
How vital will they be setting the tone from a protection standpoint?
Yeah, huge. Run game and protections, right? Just the strength and the integrity of the pocket, within reason. We know that defenses across the league are filled with guys who have fantastic rush plans, and so they'll be studying those guys. And I think it really makes the whole group better, as they kind of communicate through just their plan of attack, for different players. But we're counting on both of those things from those guys.
What was your scouting report on your son Saturday?
Yeah, just green. What I loved about it was I could see his aggressive nature. I could see he's not afraid. And now it's just a matter of okay, you have a job. And so I'm just watching him just take the responsibility of what you're required to do in the post. He's playing safety a lot for the game. He's on kickoff cover, kickoff return, and just learning leverage, learning how you fit in the part to whole thing, which is going to be a huge part for him going forward.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Good? Yep, thank you.